as I was wrongly accused by my brother's girlfriend. I was immediately disowned by my family. Years later, they're pleading for my forgiveness, but I made one last move that they didn't expect. My younger brother, Ryan, who was 23 years old, was always the favored, and I am a man, 25-year-old. It was everything but subtle. He strolled on ground that my parents, a 59-year-old man and a 55-year-old lady, revered. He was the golden son, the one they boasted about at family get-togethers, the one who could hit a tree with a car and somehow make the tree the guilty party. In the meantime, I was the problem child, not because I was one, but rather because I wasn't him. Regardless of what I accomplished, it was never sufficient. They would claim Ryan didn't need to try as hard, since he was inherently smart. If I received straight A's, they would dismiss my prize as an extracurricular activity. They would chuckle about Ryan being young and not wasting time if I put in a lot of effort at a summer job. In my own household, I was a background noise. Not simply my parents, but also grandparents were involved. I also found Ryan to be a jerk. He constantly turned our parents against me because he was a skilled manipulator. They were already in his favor, so he didn't even need to strive hard. I recall Ryan constantly entering my room when I was 17, tampering with my belongings, prodding me, humming loudly, and generally being obnoxious while I was studying for a large test. I told him to leave, but he didn't listen. 10 minutes later, I screamed at him and smashed my textbook. He claimed that I was constantly angry and frightening him, so he rushed to my parents right away. My folks weren't interested in what I was trying to explain. They advised me to control my attitude and to quit making fun of my younger brother. Ryan was a master at sowing doubt in my folks' minds. He would only make subtle remarks that caused others to wonder about me, never accuse me of anything directly. I don't know how he could afford that, Ryan said nonchalantly to my parents once, after I had saved up and purchased a new laptop for myself. Do you have any doubt that he did not steal money? All of a sudden, I was being questioned by my parents about my finances and asked to provide evidence of my income. Ryan would never have been asked that. As I grew up, I put myself first and stayed away from their problems. I started exercising, learned new skills, and made financial savings. My parents wouldn't give me handouts, so I made sure I wouldn't require one. Conversely, Ryan was the opposite. He never had a job for more than a few months, always had some new hobby or business concept that never worked out, and considered life to be a vacation. My parents paid for everything. Next was his 22-year-old girlfriend, Zoey. She was just Ryan's kind of person, noisy, attention-seeking, and constantly attempting to project an influencer persona on social media. If you paid attention, you could easily see through her phony charm, which worked on guys like Ryan. Zoey loved a good story. If there wasn't an issue, she would make one. She needed to be the center of attention, so she exaggerated everything and made it all about herself. I was initially unconcerned. Since Ryan changed girlfriends every several months, I assumed she would go shortly. Zoey stayed, though, and eventually I realized she was becoming a little too friendly with me. When no one else was there, she would ask me personal questions, flatter me, and make small jokes about Ryan needing to learn from me. I began receiving late-night texts from her asking for help on unrelated topics. I responded in a succinct, bland, icy manner as the messages became more clear. When she first went too far, I swiftly cut it off and told her not to text me in that manner again. After taking a week break, she resumed. She tried to kiss me after sneaking into my room one evening after a family dinner. I pulled her away, warned her not to approach me again, and threatened to expose her if she did it again. Her entire demeanor changed. Instead of being ashamed or sorry, she was calculating. Without saying anything, she walked out of the room. The following day, everything was different. Ryan was gazing at me, and my parents were stiff when I got home. Last night, he tried to push himself on me, sobbed Zoey, who was standing behind them. Thinking I had misheard her, I froze. I laughed because it was so absurd, not because it was funny. None of them accepted my explanation that she was the one who had cheated on me. They didn't hear my side of the story or demand proof. My father sternly advised me to gather my belongings and leave. My mother refused to even look at me. I left after packing my stuff. Being expelled was one thing, but it was worse to see how simple it was for them to do it. Not a second thought, no question, no hesitation. I was thrown away as if I were nothing. My mother didn't call or text me at all. They totally interrupted me. I came to see later that it was beneficial to me. My car, a few $100s, and a duffel bag of clothes were all I had. For the first few nights, I stayed in my car. Later, my 28-year-old cousin, Lucas, called. Only he didn't fall for Zoey's falsehoods. He extended an invitation for me to stay for a time. I landed a temporary work at a warehouse after spending a few days with him. I wasn't choosy, but the pay was terrible. I managed to find another job working overnight at a gas station, and managed to rent a small room in a shared house. Hard work, 2 jobs, and no sleep. In the meantime, Ryan continued to have a great time, sharing pictures of his parties and trips on social media while still dating Zoey. My parents were supporting his way of life. Ryan had no work ethic, no talents, and no plan. So I knew precisely how this would end. He would rush to me when the funds ran out one day. But I didn't have that issue. After a few months, the warehouse employment evolved into a more secure position. I began studying finance and investing, lived frugally, and saved every penny. I learned how to code and began working as a freelancer, creating websites, blogging, and taking on side projects online. Although it was sluggish, each gig gained experience. I eventually started getting bigger jobs and earning just as much from freelancing as I did from working in the warehouse. The day I earned my first $1,000 in a month from freelancing is still fresh in my mind. It seemed to confirm that I was right. I moved out of the awful shared house and into my own apartment after a year. It was my first time having my own room. After quitting the warehouse job, I became a full-time freelancer, increasing my prices, taking on additional clients, and developing my resume. By the second year, I had saved money, had no debt, and could work whenever I wanted. I began to look long-term, creating my own website, promoting myself as a consultant, and even contracting out work to other independent contractors. I was earning more money than I ever imagined by the 3rd year. Above all, I was in charge. After the Zoey incident, I entirely cut off contact with my family. They never made an effort to get in touch, and I didn't mind. Lucas and I kept up, and one day he called to share some very important news. Ryan was beginning to lose his mind. He stopped taking ostentatious vacations. He stopped braving on social media, and he was struggling financially. He made a business startup attempt, lost a lot of money, and was still unable to perform a genuine job. When his companions ran out of money, they vanished. When the money stopped up, Zoey also left him. She even betrayed him. She only wanted the lifestyle and the attention, never the long term. At last, my parents became aware. They had thrown money at him for years in the hopes that he would suddenly become successful. But now they were starting to have doubts. This is when the intriguing part begins. Zoey, who has a tendency to talk a lot, told her pals intoxicatedly that she had lied about me, that I had never hurt her, and that she had only accused me because I had rejected her and threatened to expose her. The fact that my parents supported her amused her. My parents eventually received the recording that her pals had made of her saying it. The awareness, the embarrassment, the indisputable evidence that they had destroyed their relationship with their own kid over a lie. Can only imagine their reaction, though I was not around to witness it. Following that, my parents began contacting me via voicemails, missed calls, and messages expressing their regret. And Ryan texted. I paid them no attention. Instead of contacting me because they missed me, they were doing it to address their own guilt. My mother then left a voicemail that read, "Ryan is in serious trouble. Please just give me a call back." I wanted to know, so I called back. She informed me that Ryan was heavily indebted, had taken out loans, made poor investments, and that the banks were now refusing to assist him. They wanted me to assist them. I had a laugh. Now, after everything, they wanted me to save him. I advised her to sit with the uncertainty, saying, "Let me think about it." In last, I arranged a meeting in a classy dining establishment. Ryan appeared desperate, my father uneasy, and my mother as if she had aged 10 years. They asked for assistance. I just said, no. After letting them speak, I'm not supporting. Big you. I told them to dignify themselves, took out a $100 bill, and placed it on the table. I then departed. Some months went by. My life got better. My business expanded. And for the first time in years, I felt content. Meanwhile, Ryan's life fell apart. His debt soon caught up with him, and he began engaging in dubious side projects. Before being jailed for embezzlement and fraud, he was sent to prison. My parents were distraught because their once golden child had lost some of that quality, not because Ryan was a criminal. Every time they acted like an outsider toward me. Every bridge they destroyed, they wished they could take it back, but it was too late. I don't regret cutting them off, for those who are curious. I am proud of where I am now, having constructed my life without their assistance. Now that I'm successful, they don't get a place at my table if they couldn't support me when I needed them. The business has been doing nicely. I have been growing, acquiring larger clients, and assembling a strong staff. My thoughts of my family and the drama ceased until Zoey made the decision to return. She began disparaging me on social media before reaching out to a few of my clients and making insinuations that I wasn't reliable. I had to stop a client from asking me directly if I knew her. I made a call to my attorney. On that tape, Zoey admitted to lying about me while intoxicated. Do you remember it? That changed the game. It was more than sufficient, according to my counsel, to demonstrate her history of making false statements. A defamation claim was filed. She altered her attitude after realizing we had the footage. She attempted to retract her claims, but the footage showed that she had lost credibility. When the matter proceeded to trial, she was found guilty of slander. She was forced to apologize publicly on social media and pay damages after acknowledging that she had misled me. For her, the fallout was severe. Her followers abandoned her, her social media presence disappeared, and her influencer career came to an end. So, when Zoey attempted to return and cause problems, she was fully punished this time. It's a good life. Business is doing well. Furthermore, I am finally free of all of their turmoil for the first time. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real-life tales of revenge, resilience, and personal growth, make sure to check out my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone close? Let's talk about it.